Sanibonani and welcome to the best entertainment news show in the land, Trendz Live, with myself, Nkosazana Dambuza. Lots of exciting content to unpack tonight, so remember to interact with us on Twitter at Trendz on SABC. We start with this story. Mzansi Ballet is back once again with another dance spectacle in celebration of Mzansi Ballet is back once again with another spectacular performance and choreography collaboration with the South African State Theatre. Let's have a look.
The Gold Rhino of Mapungubwe is a fantastic tale, and it's a truly South African tale that celebrates South Africa pre-colonially. It really showcases the incredible talent that existed 1,000 years ago in Africa. In our ballet, there is Van Graan that has a name because he was an existing character. But after that, nobody. We talk about the king, we talk about the healer. We don't put a particular language to it because we decided that we didn't want to favor or unfavor any particular grouping. We believe everybody needs to feel ownership of the story and of this ballet. We have a choir, we have dancing, we have what we call Afro ballet, completely new. And I think that is what we were trying to do, trying to follow the history of Mapungubwe, ensuring that we achieve that by speaking to professors of history, professors of anthropology, professors of music. We went to the Javet Museum, which is the home of the Gold Rhino of Mapungubwe at the moment. So really achieving something very, very beautiful. And so we want to find a way of bringing the Gold Rhino to more South Africans and not to just have it in the museum in Pretoria.
What is the actual story that you want people to take from this?
Well, it's Heritage Month, and I think therefore heritage is so important. But the message is South Africans and Africans have been creative, and my message always with ballet has been the solutions to all Africa's challenges need to actually come from within Africa. And the arts and this ballet to a certain extent gives us that creativity, celebrates that creativity that we need to find the solutions to our challenges in South Africa.
Tell us a bit about the costumes.
So David is an incredible designer. He has made some incredible outfits for some of the most incredible people in South Africa and the world. And so we just asked him and he said yes.
David's such an amazing designer. Like, his costumes are so intricate and detailed, and it's just been so wonderful performing in them.
An African story told differently, something that is not very prevalent in the scene of entertainment.
We are actually telling a story through a music, because our duty is to sing while we are with the beautiful Mzansi Ballet here, the dancers. So we just brought these two combinations to tell a story to our audience.
Actually, in many ways, the ballet came from operas. That's where it started in many ways. Yes, at the court of King Louis XIV, the Sun King, there was some ballet. But it really became a world art form by incorporating into opera, and then it separated. And I think this is just a wonderful way to say, let's do it in Africa and let's bring it together. And it just sounds and lifts the whole spirit of the performance. The audience starts ululating with the singers on stage. And it's a wonderful way of taking something that is so theatrical and something so South African and merging it into a beautiful celebration on stage.
It couldn't have been easy putting this collaboration of history and dance routines together.
So we took all of that great history and ideas that actually exist already. We created a princess that basically goes through our ballet to try and save the history of Mapungubwe with the healer in our story.
The princess is an extremely free-spirited young girl, and she kind of just is all over the place. And when her father tragically passes, she's devastated because she is so free-spirited. So she doesn't know what to do. But then the colonizer comes and she teaches him not to dig up the gold because it's wrong, and takes him back 1,000 years ago to her village and her past. And they experience it and they come forward back in time, and she convinces him not to dig up the gold. So in the end, it's a happy ending.
This ballet I play the chief, that's the right hand of the king. So my character is more about being happy and try to make everybody like on track, you know, like being with them and try to make them like, okay, let's do what the king wants. And yeah, that's my character, being happy on the stage and jump a lot.
So with that, what I did is I really like crossing different styles of dance. I don't stick to one particular style, which I think is great for the audience now. You know, the world we live in, everybody wants a little bit of everything, you know? So we have our great classics where we have some of our females in point shoes doing the proper technical classical work, which we have a great audience for that. And then we've crossed it into this Afro ballet type, this new style we've created, contemporary in it. You know, the story in itself just gave me so much before I even began, you know. It's almost like I had too much to pick and choose from. So it was just great to create a ballet like this.
And that was just a sneak peek of what to expect from the stage performance currently running at the Lesedi at the Joburg Theatre. Now, dance is an important expression of our heritage. Through different moves and music, our bodies are able to relay vast messages, while the National School of Arts is hosting its annual Dance Spectrum Production September Suite. And previous student Thami Tshabalala is proudly showcasing his commissioned work titled On Your Mark, Ready, Set, See Me. And he joins me now to talk about this exciting production. Hello and welcome to Trendz.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Now listen, you have graced both local and international stages, yes.
Try my best.
But why is this current production so special to you?
Oh, wow. I'm literally going back to where everything started for me. The National School of the Arts was literally an instrumental part in my creative journey. I started dancing at the age of 16. I first auditioned as a drama student, though, first in 2005, and I got accepted. And we were given the opportunity to do 2 art subjects, and then I moved on to do dance. And I never turned back from there, and just going back and being in those spaces again, being in the studio, just came back with so many memories and just so much just like reliving of what really art truthfully means to me now as a grown, independent artist.
Absolutely. And yeah. On your mark, ready, set, see me. What a unique name. You have to tell us the meaning behind that name. And also, it's a production with a special cause, right? Sure. What are your aims?
Well, the aims of this work specifically is to really celebrate inclusivity, representation, and acknowledgement of the generation of our times right now. And the title of the work came about because I just was getting bored of really simple titles. And I think recreating a narrative that is very special, a narrative that will resonate to more people than the ones that are in the school right now, and they're going to touch more people. That was the idea of actually on your mark, ready, set, see me. See the new generation, see what we're about, see our ideas, see our culture, and see our preservation of our heritage too.
Absolutely. Now, I have to ask this question. I mean, you're someone who's traveled the world performing on different stages. How do you keep humble? How do you stay grounded as a young person?
Sure, I am a deeply spiritual human being, and I am deeply invested in my family too. My family keeps me very, very, very grounded. And I really feel like I'm also a very disciplined human being. Like I really am a focused human being. I stick a lot to what I do. I am very professional. My work ethic is of extreme high caliber. I also surround myself with people that keep me focused, that keep me knowing that it's not about the fame, it's not about anything else external, but besides your greatest art to the world.
Absolutely, and this is an opportunity to nurture young artists to fly. How do you achieve this, rather, through dance?
Well, I would say it was quite easy for me because I love choreography and I love dancing. But I mean, the preservation of culture and heritage for me is quite important because we are archiving history. We're archiving monumental situations and stories and scenarios that have happened in this country and globally. But what best way to archive all those stories than through theatre and dance and let them dance these works in more years to come, this generation that will come after the world, how it looks like in the next 10, 20 years. It's completely up to us, and what we're doing now will be of resonance in the upcoming years.
Absolutely. And what will make this production an unforgettable experience?
Sure. Well, this program is one of the most exceptional programs I've had the privilege to be a part of. It ranges from works from neoclassical, Afrofusion, contemporary, classical ballet, multidisciplinary work too as well, and the artistry and the passion and the innovation that these young students have, and all the people that have been involved in putting together this great masterpiece of a production.
Absolutely. And how did all these various dance forms come together so beautifully? How did you achieve that?
Well, it comes from experience too. I've had the privilege to work with a dynamic and a spectrum of choreographers, mainly from South Africa, from the likes of Dada Masilo, Mamela Nyamza, Kelsey Middleton. So from all that knowledge, it's literally concise into what I have right now as my own movement vocabulary and my own voice as an artist, and also movement vocabulary that resonates now with the new generation, on how they need to speak and how to tell their stories through their bodies. Because for me, the body is one of the most expressive tools that we don't even need a voice to speak, to show what we're actually expressing. The body is so expressive. So the moment we find the movement vocabulary and the music and all that congregates together becomes exceptional for me.
And just very quickly, how can people book their seats to see the show?
Oh yeah, the tickets are available through Joburg Theatre, which then will be linked through web tickets. The performances are on Friday, the 15th and the 16th at 7:30 p.m. And we have 2 matinee shows on the 16th and the 17th at 2:30 p.m.
All I can say is wow. I mean, wow.
Thank you.
You are a masterpiece yourself.
Try my best.
And I can't wait to see the masterpiece that you have for us on the show. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. You're phenomenal. And keep up the good work.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Now, one of the dancers in Thami's show is the flamboyant, ever so colorful and rich in culture, the Spanish dance. And we have the dancers in studio to send us rushing to the Joburg Theatre. Let's see what's in store. Port Shepstone in KwaZulu-Natal is abuzz with much excitement. This as South African and international film creators gather on the South Coast to showcase films and engage in empowering conversations, adding value and knowledge to the South African film industry. This through workshops focused on filmmaking. The film festival is currently on, and we cross live to producer Didintle Mokoleti, who is on the location to give us some insight on today's events and an update on the festival. Hi Didi, how are you?
Good evening, Nkosazana. Good evening, Trendz. It's an absolutely amazing day. We arrived in Port Shepstone yesterday for the beginning of the film festival. It's called the Ugu International Film Festival, and its aims really is to promote international and local relations in the media industry. I'm actually joined here tonight in a beautiful area because we've had several screenings of plenty of films showcased at different locations. Stuff is happening all around us. Currently, we're at an amazing venue, and I am actually having the luxury of being joined by very key people in the facilitation and the process of the success of this film festival. So I am joined, believe it or not, we found the founder of the festival himself, Mr. Senzo. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And on my right-hand side, we've also got Debbie, who is very instrumental in the success of the program. So perhaps let's chat a little bit with them about the prospects, what is expected of this film festival. Mr. Senzo, the vision belongs to you. You are the founder. Every great story of success usually begins with humble beginnings. You're now a great and phenomenal filmmaker. Won't you just take us through the early ages, the steps, or the beginning perhaps of what intrigued you to actually get excited about possibly becoming a filmmaker someday? What's your story?
Thank you very much. It began when like a young boy from Norway, like from the rural areas where there was nothing. So I was forced to think out of the box and come with ideas how to survive. It began when also I was like at school doing grade 5, if I'm not mistaken. I started by selling sweets at school. It started from there, the business mindset, and also how to actually come with ideas that are helping the community or myself in my home. It started from my house. Then from there, it also, I began to start to be a cameraman. That was around 1999, doing grade 7, grade 9, so to say. Then from there, it grew until a point where my teachers at school, when I was doing grade 12, they told me I must stop doing to be a cameraman and focus on my studies, so that when I reach maybe my matric, I can then come back and do it in a big international standard. So then maybe I could get bursaries or anything. This is how it began, and from there I listened to my teachers. After that, then I did get a bursary that took me to America. I came back. Now I'm doing it for my community. That's all.
Amazing. So someone could have discouraged you, but you chose to focus on the cause and follow your dreams. Yeah. So I'm told that you actually met a camera person, admired their work, and ultimately you became self-taught because you asked him to then train you. Well done for sticking to the cause. I do, however, want to establish why it was so important for you to establish a film festival, especially in the South Coast. Why was it so close to your heart for you to actually begin a film festival? Was there a need, and why?
Okay, first of all, it began by me being from rural areas. And after I realized that I'm creative, I knew that there's more sensors from these also deep rural areas.
Yeah.
So now, if I struggle to be where I am, I needed to make something that is going to help those who are behind me. You know, give them a platform so that they can't struggle like I did. You know, that was the motive. At the same time, I studied mostly economics and accounting. So I always wanted something that is going to bring economy into my region. So that is why I engage with mostly international successful producers and investors, so that I actually help my community to grow from strength to strength.
Determined to change lives and indeed make dreams come true. On my right-hand side, we've got Debbie. Debbie, so much is going on. There's workshops happening everywhere. You've got esteemed directors. You've got filmmakers. on the South Coast. It's a buzz. Won't you tell us about some of the key workshops? And I know that they're all informed by different facets of the film industry. Who have we got? The quality of performers that are in town. I know some are international. Yesterday we actually filmed screened an amazing film by Lee, who comes from Thailand. It was called The Lake. Amazing show up, great turnout, great reviews. So we have workshops until tomorrow. Is everyone welcome to attend, and what is being addressed at those workshops?
Right, so we, like as you said, we started with the film, the opening film from Lee from Thailand, and that had to do about a big monster creature. So it was quite exciting because it was a little bit of everything. I think we loved just the little bit of the compassion of the monster that was, needing to save their child and look for it. But it was really great this morning that we then actually had the opportunity to hear how monster creation happens. And he shared a little bit more about, Thailand, how the monster was made, where it came from. So what's really been great with the workshops that we've had so far is they've been very informative. I think, sometimes we watch a movie and then we don't realize that there's special effects, the lighting, the sound. Yeah. You've got guys that have got the different arts. So we've had, people, Dee from Nigeria, and like I say, Lee, we've got Dr. Khan, we've had Mr. Dlamini. So we've had a lot of different influences of which are still to come, especially for tomorrow. And it's just been great to hear film from a different perspective, especially today was a school day. So it was really great for us to see, so many children that attended and learners, and they were so excited to actually, learn more, hear more. Today our challenge to them was be a filmmaker today, and they just loved it. You had the kids out with the cameras, they were going taking films. And we created some activities with them, and we were in different regions. We were both in the rural facilities as well as the urban, because this year Mr. Sindela wanted to have more of a diversity within the film industry, so that it was actually not just for the rural community, but actually for us as a whole, because, we all fit in somewhere. So it's been quite a challenge, but it's been really great.
And it's been great fun. I've witnessed it myself. Mr. Sindela, ultimately, it's very difficult to raise funding for these kind of projects. What is it that is so deeply rooted in your heart that you would like to say to potential funders, sponsors, or anybody that wants to change the life of a young child into becoming a phenomenal director, filmmaker, whoever on the scene? Talk to us. Funds, why are we struggling, and what needs to be done? Very briefly.
I think we're struggling because some of our people who are actually having resources, they don't actually see the vision, of how actually this film industry actually can help the community. Or else I think it's also us as filmmakers, we don't do much enough to make them see. So now, this is why we don't give up until they see. So I think what actually we need to do as filmmakers is not to give up, make sure that we keep on actually doing what we believe is actually required by a community, because the film industry can create a lot of jobs. It's not only about maybe acting only. So once we do enough to show them that there's more, I'm sure they will come on board.
Absolutely amazing nuggets from a man who could not even lift a camera to somebody who is currently hosting an entire film festival. Absolutely great job, guys. Keep up the good work. That's it from us. Back to you, Nkosazana, in studio.
Thank you so much for that update. That was Trendz live producer Didintle Mokoletse coming to us live from Port Shepstone in KZN, showing us the latest of what's happening at the prestigious Ugu International Film Festival, where top filmmakers have come together to celebrate their craft. And now it's time to celebrate the legend of African instruments. I give you Volley Nchabeleng. We take you back to the Ugu Festival, where Trendz producer Didintle Mokoleti chats with the film legend himself, Dr. John Kani, who plays a pivotal role in the festival. Good evening, Didi. Can you tell us what is the latest at the festival?
Good evening again, Nkosazana. Good evening, Trendz. This is the life. This place is where you want to be right now, so you'd better not miss the activities happening still in Port Shepstone tomorrow. I have the luxury of interviewing, he might as well be called the godfather of film and television in our country, Mr. Dr. John Kani. Thank you so much for allowing us a moment to speak with you, Baba.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I met Senzo when we were doing the University of Technology. We were launching there the Sollywood Film Festival. And I know his work very much, and I know that he's an award film producer. And he told me about, I know he did the Ugu International Film Festival in Durban, actually in the South Coast. And I was very interested to see what kind of audiences we have, what is the excitement around an international film festival. And I'm very, very pleased to have been part of this event. Last night we opened with an incredible movie from Thailand by Peter Tongman, which is Lee, which is about this monster that comes out of the lake and devours the village and brings people of different opinions and animals, including police, to unite the village against a common enemy. And they saved it. And there's also the 1960, which is another great movie, and Boxcard. Today we spent the day going to the rural communities in the townships and in the ghetto, working with schools and talking to them about the meaning of the arts and why they should be interested in the film industry and also the creative industry.
Fantastic. It has absolutely been an eye-opening weekend. As someone who's got so much experience in the film industry, what do you think is still important to be pursued in order for us to actually get aboard something that the world can notice and actually be able to invest in South Africa? So where are the loopholes in our industry and what needs to be done about it?
Well, we are in KZN. It is the home of tourism. It is an exhibition space for South Africa culture and everything. Now within there we have the Ugu International Film Festival. Part of tourism, you come to this area, you don't just walk on the beach and have a great time in miles of clean, sparkling sand beaches. There is also the culture of the people of this area. The young people who say, I want to be a director, I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a makeup artist. And I asked one young man, what do you want to be? And he said, I want to be an engineer. I said, what are you going to do being an engineer? I want to build the bridges so that when we want to go to school, we don't have to drown in the river. I said, I'm going to find the money for that bridge.
And we're going to tell a story someday of how the film industry eventually helped him build that bridge as an engineer. Very important story.
Absolutely.
So, Baba, filmmaking is always about narrating very key, important stories. How are we faring in the area of animations, though?
Animation is critically important, although it is a very long process and more expensive than really doing the movies. I've been involved in 6 animation projects, which lasted 18 months each. I mean, Lee Dongman on the lake, he spent 5 years working on that project. But it is a way that our young people can relate to, quicker than really a movie, because they can see images, they can see the villages, they can see the little rondavelles, they can see themselves, and they can enjoy, because it's somehow for a young child and another child who's 80 years old like me, I become a little kid when I watch animation because it's so accessible and beautiful. And this area is so beautiful because we exhibit what's good for us. And film is an industry. We don't just call it a creative industry. It's an industry. We create jobs, we create skills, we upskill, we give our people an opportunity to explore their own lives, to bring their little stories up that expresses their challenges in life. Schools talk about a place where we could talk about child early childhood pregnancy. They talk about high school dropouts. And we was talking to young people to say, you cannot be responsible for little Liza. You cannot because you want to be sexually active. You have to take responsibility and say, I'll only hold your hand, but I can't hold your brain. Because you need to develop, you need to become the future citizen. So as film as a whole, the creative industry has an important role in creating jobs, in creating skills for young people. Because through their voices, we know where South Africa is going. Through their voices, we know what the future looks like. I'm 80 years old. I need another 16 John Kanis to take over the baton and be there so they could tell the stories that celebrate our lives. We don't have to be telling stories about angst, how we suffered. I'm so sick of how we suffered. I want to know, what do we celebrate? Ubuntu, national identity, heritage, reconciliation, nation building, respect for women, end of gender-based violence. Those are the stories the young people are telling, and we must bring them into the film media to reach the broadest audience. We should partner with our government colleagues within KZN, because we all focus on providing service to our community, create jobs, make our people proud of being black and being African.
And what a wonderful world of amazing story and changing our trajectory in filmmaking it would be if we had just 16 more John Kanis. Don't you think, Nkosazana? Back to you. It's been a great time. Come to the festival. This is where the beginning of great stories are told. Over to you, Nkosazana. It was lovely.
Thank you so much for that indeed lovely interview, Didi and Claire. Wise and inspirational words coming there from the legend himself, Dr. John Kani. Wow! Multi-percussionist and musician Volley Nchabeleng continues his quest to increase his collection of African instruments. Nchabeleng also uses his music to educate people all over the world about his interesting collection of musical instruments. And that is not all. Earlier this year, he released an album titled One Night in Africa in celebration of Africanism and the continent's diversity and oneness in melody and rhythm. Now, he's been touring African and Asian countries and performing at prestigious events since 2002 around the globe. He joins me now in studio. Welcome to Trendz Live.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you've just come back from a tour in Germany. Tell us, how was that experience?
Whew. Well, I was in Germany around March, but now last week I was in India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
the current one, it's India. I was part of the G20 orchestra.
Nice.
Then we were about 45 artists across the globe, and then we were on that stage, and 101 musicians, and then Indians. It was just wonderful.
I can imagine. Is there anything that you learned in India that you would like to implement in South Africa?
Hey, you see, the Indians, they pride themselves with their culture.
Yeah.
So if there's a country or continent that is more really loving themselves and preserving their culture, is Asian continent. So in India, we were having a full orchestra, but you can have the tablas, all the Indian instruments, sitar, you know. So what I've learned is that we really lost ourselves into colonization. Wow. So I wish we can bring that back and feel like even if we are doing good as South Africa, we still have that pride of or being proud of being African and go back and deep to our roots and music and instruments. Hey, you name them, lots. You
Absolutely. And talking about instruments, what kind of music do you play? How would you describe it?
I can't really put a tag on the name, or on the music to say it's an African or it's a jazz, but I just represent an African authentic Asian sound of Africa. So any sound or any instruments that represent Africa as a continent, I go for it. I play so many instruments.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you've been collecting instruments around the African continent.
Yes,
Tell us how long you've been doing this and why it's important.
So if you come to my house, it's like a mini museum.
Yeah.
So, because by doing that, it's how you, like, I've been tracing the how we are connected as an African. So because we have borders, but when you remove the borders, you realize that we are one, because most of the instruments are the same. If you start up there in Ethiopia, coming down, you find that we use one string instruments. They will call it, they will give it a name. We have Makoyana, we have Umkhube in Xhosa, and we have Mamkhorong and Botsoran in Sepedi. So we have lots of instruments in common. Then that made me collect the instruments so that we can see, oh, we are one big family, we are one big heart as Africa.
Absolutely. And you spoke about the importance of preserving one's culture and heritage, right? And it's Heritage Month in South Africa. So what message do you have for the South Africans?
Well, for me, I'm so glad that this month is dedicated for heritage. But I think as an African, any day or every day must be a heritage day. We must just be ourselves on a daily basis. But then the message I have for all South Africans, our viewers at home, is that you are an African and be proud of that. Don't let the colonizer define you or interpret you through his eye or her eye. I don't know whether, but it's Kanamho. So as an African, just be proud and make sure that whatever your language, your music, your instruments, make sure it's visible. You know, in most cases when I perform, I make sure that there's at least African indigenous instruments on stage that is visible. Like today I have mbira, I have marimba. You know, those are the oldest instruments. Marimba, it's made out of wood only. Before the keyboards, before all those Western instruments stepped in, we used to play, making music non-stop.
And just very quickly, how can people access your music?
It's online. I'm so accessible. You can just Google my name. Everything will come. So all my music is online, YouTube channel, Volley Nchabeleng. They will, and they can follow me on all social media, and they will know where I'm performing next.
Thank you so much, Volley, for joining us. I love how you embrace and showcase the beauty of Africa.
Thank you.
Well done. And of course, do stay tuned, because you will be performing later on the show, and I'll see you after the break. London's most famous cafe, Elan London, known for its unique interior that has the most Instagrammable moments while enjoying their innovative menu of being able to have breakfast at any time of the day, has now opened in South Africa after having over 33 of these pink and floral eateries around the world, such as in Milan, Dubai and in Paris, to name a few. Now, Silepe Maifadi went to Mall of Africa to see if the aesthetics match the hype.
When you look at all things aesthetics, trends, design, and obviously a place or two to nibble at, today we decided to come to the most Instagrammable restaurant in South Africa, in the world even. So we're going to check out what this is all about, and I'm here with someone who knows more about this place. How did it become the most Instagrammable place in the world?
I think it's got a lot to do with all the pink and you know, we pride ourselves in the food and obviously the aesthetics, and you know, flowers is one of our main features within the restaurants. This is the 33rd restaurant that Elan has, so super excited to be the first South African, obviously. And yeah, each shop has a unique feature. Ours is obviously the chandelier, as well as the bougainvillea, like hot air balloon, if you want to call it that, which we really loving. First one to have a bit of green, so we're pretty proud of that. And it's not as pink as as the rest of them, which we're super chuffed about.
I'm not complaining. As you can see, I am a lover of all things pink. But I believe that when the owner designed this place or came up with this idea, she wanted to have something that is fashionable, because she's from a fashion background, and have healthy food within the space as well. How do you see that blend coming out of what's on the menu?
We're seeing it a lot, obviously. In the salads are really great. I think we've done such a good job in localizing the menu. Global has been brilliant with that. It's been really fun. the steaks and everything that we've brought onto the menu. And yeah, I mean, it's a very healthy restaurant as well as decadent. I think our cakes and the whole display speaks for itself as well.
Can I have breakfast even in the evenings here? How does it work?
So how it works is we pretty much do whatever you'd like to eat at whatever time, which is new for me, which is a lot in the kitchen, but it's enjoyable. It keeps it alive when you're making a French toast in the middle of dinner service, and when you're making a T-bone in the middle of breakfast service. So yes, everything all day long, which is really great. We've seen quite a lot of breakfasts go out to dinner time. And even pizzas for breakfast at 8:30, which has been quite interesting.
I mean, it's breakfast somewhere in the world, so it's a perfect time for anything you want to grab, right?
For sure, yes.
So since the place has opened, how has the public been receiving it?
Originally, I said that South Africans don't necessarily love to queue, and they proved me wrong. So we've had to move the queue a couple of times, which has been unbelievable. I don't think we expected it to be this busy. It's been unbelievable. South Africa's really come out to enjoy this shop.
Which I guess highlights the power of Instagram, right? Like at this point in time, we're no longer going to places just to grab a nice bite, but you really want the place to also stand out. And this place kind of shows us the power of that, right?
For sure. I think I've never seen so many photos get taken in my life. I don't think that I've taken this many photos of other people. Even when serving food, asked to stop serving food and please take a photo of us, which has been really great. We've done a little powwow with all of our serving staff and even our baristas as to always to be obviously looking good and everything, because they're always in photos all the time, as well as teach them how to use cameras and take the best shot and go a little bit lower, go a little bit higher, and obviously listen and take a lot of shots all the time, which has been fun.
What would you say have you seen most people ordering just for aesthetic?
Just for aesthetics, I would have to say the French toast, especially the Nutella French toast. Biscoff's doing really well. And also the cakes, but the drinks have been doing phenomenal, and obviously the pouring of everything together and then it all combines and changes color. Obviously that's the vibe, but yeah, the pizzas have been really Instagrammable as well.
Well, as a chef, what do you enjoy making more, especially taking in from what is done from London?
What I enjoy the most as a chef is actually cakes and pastries. So we've pushed the boundaries there a bit, loving the quality, loving the just the methods and the ingredients. And we had obviously we had Global here, we had their pastry chef, and we've learned so much from that. Ingredients wise, we are pulling from the best suppliers in South Africa, and I think in the kitchen, that's a hard one. I think the pizzas actually, and yeah, I mean, I think I've made a lot of pizzas in my life, but these are the best looking ones and the best tasting ones that I've had so far.
Well, there you go. There you have it, Trendz. If you're trying to get some nice grab, be, aesthetically pleasing, enjoy your meal while looking good, having the meals also looking great, this is the place to be. It's all the way from London. There's over 33 of them around the world. There's more coming also in South Africa. So yeah, don't say I did not plug you. You know I always got your back.
Love, love, love that vibe. We've come to the end of the show now. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do come back next week, Friday at 8 p.m. only on SABC News. Remember to stay kind and stay blessed. I now leave you to enjoy the unique African sounds of Volley Nchabeleng.